There is a secret language between you and the universe. It doesn't speak in words or logic. It speaks in vibration, the quiet, invisible frequency that hums through your thoughts, emotions, and every action you take. It's not something you have to earn. You're already speaking it, right now, even if you're not aware of it yet. But here's the shift. What if you learn to speak it on purpose? What if your energy could become so clear, so aligned, that the universe had no choice but to respond? This isn't about pretending to be positive. It's about tuning into your true self, the version of you that already holds the power to create your first personal miracle today. Yes, today. Because the magic isn't waiting somewhere far away. It's waiting inside the frequency you choose to live from. So here's the real question. How do you activate the right vibration and stay in it, even when life gets chaotic? Let's begin. Long before time was measured in minutes and days, before we called the stars by names and tried to make sense of the sky, there was a presence, a rhythm moving quietly through the world. Not a god you'd see in temples or statues, but something deeper. A keeper of codes. A translator between the seen and the unseen. His name was Thoth. In ancient Egypt, they called him the scribe of the gods, the divine architect of thought and vibration. But those titles barely scratch the surface. Thoth wasn't worshipped for his power, but for his alignment. He didn't rule, he remembered. He listened to the hum beneath creation, the frequency that holds both the heavens and the earth, and he gave it language. Unlike the kings who carved their names into stone, Thoth carried only a pen, a scroll, symbols. To him, creation wasn't something you control, it was something you harmonize with. He didn't seek to dominate the world. He tuned into it, as a musician would to an instrument, and taught others to do the same. They say Thoth stood at the edge of two worlds, not between good and evil, not between past and future, but between thought and manifestation. He was the one who kept the heavens and the earth connected through an invisible bridge. Not a bridge made of stone or steel, but of awareness. This bridge doesn't stretch across landscapes. It exists inside you. It's the thin, vibrating line between your intentions and your experiences. It's the moment just before you speak, where a feeling becomes a thought, and a thought becomes energy that leaves your body and enters the field around you. Every mystical tradition echoes this idea in its own language. The Vedas called it Ritam, the order behind all things. Hermetic wisdom described it as above, so below, the inner and the outer mirroring one another. Quantum physics calls it coherence, but Thoth didn't speak in theories. He spoke in vibration. He taught that the universe responds not to your words, but to your frequency. It doesn't matter what you say you want if your energy sings a different song. You can't lie to the mirror. It simply reflects. That's why rituals mattered not as superstition, but as spiritual technology. They weren't performances. They were recalibrations. Ways of bringing your thoughts, feelings, and actions into a single, clear signal. And when that signal matches what you desire, reality begins to shape itself around you almost quietly, like morning light creeping across a dark room. We live in a world of noise, of hustle, of proving, of pretending. But Thoth's wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. And if you get still enough, you'll hear it. A question rising from within your own breath, asking not what you want from life, but who you're willing to become in order to receive it. Because this bridge, the one between heaven and earth, between vision and form, isn't somewhere out there. It's always been within you, quietly waiting for the day you remember how to walk across. Not with your feet, but with your frequency. It's just a few lines long. no longer than a modern poem carved not in pages, but in memory whispers passed through alchemists, mystics, and seekers for centuries. The Emerald Tablet, a fragment of language so concise, so simple, and yet it holds within it the weight of an entire cosmology. At the heart of the tablet lies a single phrase, a phrase that has rippled across time like a stone dropped into still water. As above, so below. You've probably heard it. Maybe in spiritual books, maybe in casual conversation, maybe on a late-night scroll down a rabbit hole. But what does it really mean? Most people interpret it as reflection. What's in the heavens is mirrored on the earth. What's inside is reflected outside. And that's not wrong, but it's incomplete. The original language of the tablet, likely rooted in early Arabic before being translated into Greek and Latin, tells us something more. That the above emerges from the below, not just reflects it, but arises from it. That the two aren't separate mirrors, they're extensions of the same source. Imagine a tree. The branches reaching for the sky may seem far from the roots, but they are made of the same wood, the same life, the same invisible blueprint. The tablet suggests that your thoughts aren't just bouncing off the world, they're shaping it, composing it, birthing it from the soil of your inner state. And that changes everything. Because if the above is born of the below, then your internal world isn't passive. It's creative. It's not just echoing what's out there, it's authoring it. The ancient mystics knew this. They didn't chase miracles. They generated them by attuning their vibration to match what they wished to experience. Not through force, but through alignment. And the tablet wasn't a prophecy, it was a manual. When Thoth carved those words, he wasn't just offering a philosophy. He was giving you the blueprint for transformation. Not someday, not when you're perfect, but now, in the exact frequency you hold as you hear these words. The Emerald Tablet has no fluff, no metaphorical filler, just one line after another of pure, distilled insight. It speaks of vibration, of correspondence, of the truth that everything that appears solid was once invisible, and that you are the missing link between those realms. It's not about escaping the material world. It's about learning how to move through it as one who remembers where it came from. That's the secret the tablet holds. Not that the universe is a mirror, but that you are the one holding the light. Let's get honest. Most of us have tried to think positive at some point. We've repeated affirmations, written down our goals, visualized the life we want. And yet, reality often doesn't shift the way we hoped, not in the timing we expected, not with the ease all those self-help books promised. Why? Because vibration isn't just thought, it's a formula, a triad. And like any instrument, if one string is out of tune, the entire song sounds off. Thoth's teachings and the core of Hermetic wisdom point us back to this invisible architecture. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. These three layers must be in alignment. Not just saying what you want, but feeling it as truth and walking it into the world through your behavior. Let's break it down. Step 1. Thought the blueprint. Your thoughts are the architects of your inner world. They draw the outlines, sketch the possibility, whisper, "This could be real." But thinking alone doesn't create. A blueprint is important, but it's not a building. Step 2. Emotion, the energy. Feelings are what breathe life into those blueprints. If thought is the drawing, emotion is the electricity. It energizes. It magnetizes. But here's the trap: if your thoughts say abundance and your emotions vibrate lack, the universe listens to the louder signal. And that's almost always feeling. Step 3. Action, the anchor. This is where most spiritual teachings fall short. They stop at mindset, but vibration isn't fully activated until it enters the body. Your choices, your movement, your voice. If you think you're confident but keep shrinking back, saying yes when you mean no, you're sending mixed signals. The result? A distorted reflection. A reality that sort of looks like your vision, but not quite. Jobs that almost fit. Relationships that almost nourish. A life that almost feels aligned but still leaves you restless. Let's bring it home. Imagine someone says, "I'm manifesting abundance." They light candles, journal, visualize. But each time they spend money, they panic. Each time an opportunity comes, they freeze. That's not alignment. That's inner conflict wearing a spiritual mask. Alignment means this: your thoughts say yes, your heart says yes, and your actions follow through like they believe it's already done. That's when vibration stabilizes. That's when the field around you stops being confused and starts responding. And the beauty? You don't have to fake it. You just have to notice. Ask, where am I out of tune? What part of me doesn't believe this yet? Where is my energy hesitating, and how can I meet it with compassion instead of judgment? Because the goal isn't perfection, it's coherence. When mind, heart, and body move in the same direction, you don't chase reality. It moves toward you, not by accident, but by vibration. There's a moment each day that most people miss. It's not loud. It doesn't knock. It slips in quietly like light under a door right between sleep and waking. This is the vibrational gateway. In those first 5 to 10 minutes of the morning, before the world rushes in, your mind is wide open, still soft, still porous, not yet shaped by headlines or emails or notifications. It's in this state, somewhere between the dream and the decision, that you set the tone for everything that follows. You see, vibration isn't just about what you think. It's about the momentum you build. And morning is the starting point. If you begin your day with urgency, your body tenses. If you begin it with silence, your soul speaks. Thoth's teachings weren't abstract philosophy. They were deeply embodied. He knew that the invisible patterns of the day begin in the invisible state of your consciousness. And the ancients across traditions understood this too. That's why every spiritual lineage from Egypt to Tibet had rituals to honor the dawn. Because how you enter the day is how the day enters you. So what if you reclaimed those first minutes? Not as a checklist, but as a ceremony. Here's a ritual. It doesn't require incense or chants or anything fancy, just presence. Step 1. Stretch the body. Before reaching for your phone, reach into yourself. Sit up. Gently move. Roll your shoulders. Stretch your spine. Breathe. Let your body know it's safe to awaken not just physically, but energetically. Step 2. Speak a truth. Say something that aligns you. A sentence, a whisper, a prayer. Not to convince yourself, but to remind yourself. Something like, "Today I move with clarity," or "My vibration creates my reality." Whatever feels real. Step 3. Breathe in stillness. Close your eyes, one hand on your heart. Just breathe. 5 minutes. In, out. Feel the space around you. Feel the energy within you. This is you tuning your frequency not for perfection, but for presence. Step 4. Do one small act of kindness. Send a message of gratitude. Pour water for your plant. Smile at the mirror. These tiny acts carry massive vibrations. They tell the universe, "I am already aligned." And life listens. You don't need an hour. You don't need a guru. You need intention. And most importantly, don't let your phone be the first voice you hear. Don't let the world hijack your frequency before you've even said it. The screen can wait. Your soul cannot. Mornings are sacred not because they're quiet, but because they're honest. They reveal who you are before the world tells you who to be. They are your doorway back to choice. And the vibration you choose in that doorway. That becomes your day. That becomes your life. It started as a comment, a few words typed into the space beneath a video. I activate my vibration now. Simple, direct, almost too short to be noticed. But something happened, others repeated it, then hundreds, then thousands. The phrase began to echo not just through the screen, but across timelines, minds, bodies. A digital whisper turned into a collective chant. Why? Because something in those 6 words touched a nerve in the soul. Not just as a reaction, but as a declaration. It wasn't just a comment. It became a ritual. In the ancient world, rituals weren't just about incense and robes. They were about repetition and intention. Saying the same words over and over, words charged with clarity, was a way of aligning the self with a greater rhythm. The body hears it. The field around you feels it. Energy responds. I activate my vibration now is simple, but its power lies in its structure. It has agency, It's in the present moment, now. And it carries vibrational intention. Activate my vibration. It's the kind of sentence that bypasses overthinking and speaks directly to the field. But there's more. This isn't just about viral words. It's about the human need for ritualized action, especially in times of chaos. When everything feels out of control, a phrase like this gives us something to hold on to. A compass. A reminder that we still have influence, even if we can't see the whole map. And the act of typing it, of saying it out loud. That's the magic. You're not just observing, you're participating. It's one thing to watch a video. It's another to engage your voice, your will, your presence. But as powerful as the phrase is, it's even more powerful when it becomes personal. So what if you created your own version? What if you spoke not just a mantra, but your mantra? Something like, I return to my frequency now. My energy is clear and grounded. I choose alignment over reaction. I remember who I am right here, right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be yours. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Let your cells memorize it. Let it be your anchor on chaotic days, your ignition on quiet mornings. Because vibration doesn't respond to theory. It responds to resonance, to realness, to action wrapped in meaning. That's why the comment section became more than just a place for reactions. It became an altar, a space of shared remembering. People across the world, from different lives, typing the same phrase not for approval, but for activation. And maybe that's the most ancient thing of all, not the words, but the will behind them. There's a truth you may not want to hear, but once you do, it unlocks everything. Reality is not punishing you. It's reflecting you, not in a blameful, moralistic way, but in a vibrational way. The world doesn't deliver what you deserve, it responds to what you emit. And sometimes, that response looks like challenge, like chaos, like everything falling apart just when you thought you were getting it together. But what if those moments weren't failures? What if they were messages? Imagine walking through your day and treating each uncomfortable moment not as an obstacle, but as a mirror. The annoying conversation, the sudden bill, the person who triggers old wounds. They aren't random. They are reflections, not of your worth, but of your alignment. You might think, but I didn't ask for this. No, maybe not consciously, but your vibration did. Not as punishment, but as a nudge. A signal that something inside is ready to shift. See, you can't heal what you can't feel. And reality is masterful at showing us what we haven't yet brought into coherence. It's not personal, it's precise. That's why Thoth and every ancient teacher who understood the law of correspondence pointed us back inward, not to escape the world, but to reclaim authorship. When the outside feels overwhelming, the question is not, how do I fix this? The question is, what is this showing me about the frequency I'm holding? It's not about guilt, it's about guidance. You might realize your words have been saying one thing, but your energy another. You might uncover old fear hiding beneath your affirmations. You might notice where your trust wavers and where your control tightens. And in that noticing, you get to choose again. You get to breathe. You get to soften the story and realign the signal. Because here's the paradox. You don't shift reality by fighting it. You shift it by tuning yourself like an instrument until what you project becomes so clear, the world can't help but mirror it back. And this isn't a one-time fix, it's a practice, a gentle moment-to-moment remembering. So next time discomfort shows up, instead of reacting, pause, inhale, and ask, what is this moment inviting me to tune? That one question can move you from resistance to resonance, from survival to sovereignty. Because when reality becomes your teacher, every moment becomes sacred, even the hard ones, especially the hard ones. Let's be real. Even when you've done the rituals, spoken the mantras, meditated at sunrise, there are still moments when it all crashes. A text that triggers you. A deadline missed, a wave of sadness with no clear reason. You feel your vibration dip like a tide pulling back from shore. And suddenly, you're no longer in alignment. You're in reaction. This is not failure. This is life. What matters is not that it happens, it's what you do next. The ancient alchemists knew that transformation isn't about constant perfection. It's about return. The ability to come back to center again and again, no matter how far you've wandered. That's why you need what I call the 3-minute energy rescue, a simple ritual to ground yourself when everything feels off. Think of it like a vibrational reset button, not to deny what you're feeling, but to move through it with awareness and grace. Step 1, breathe like you mean it. Find a quiet spot. Stand or sit, close your eyes, inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. Do this for 1 minute. This isn't just breath, it's signal. It tells your nervous system, we're safe, we're choosing calm. Your body hears it, your mind begins to soften. Step 2, speak it into being. Whisper or say out loud, I return to my frequency. My peace is not outside me. I am not my fear. I am the space that sees it. Pick one phrase. Say it gently, over and over, like a lullaby for your energy. Let the words anchor you back to your truth, not as a performance, but as a choice. Step 3, move the static. Now shake, yes, literally. Gently bounce on your heels. Wiggle your fingers. Roll your shoulders. Let your body release what words can't. It doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to move. Energy trapped in the body becomes emotion. But energy in motion, that becomes clarity. This whole ritual takes less than 3 minutes, but the shift can echo for hours. And here's the most important part. You don't have to be spiritual all the time. You don't have to glow with positivity or vibrate at some perfect frequency. You're human, you're learning, you're allowed to wobble. What matters is that you return. Again and again. Because the power isn't in being flawless. It's in remembering over and over that you're allowed to begin again. That now is always available. And that your vibration isn't something you chase. It's something you choose. You've probably heard it 100 times. As above, so below. But what does that actually mean when your bank account is low, Your relationships are shaky, and your mind won't stop racing. The law of correspondence sounds mystical, ancient, almost too vast to grasp. But at its core, it's shockingly practical. It means that what's happening inside of you, your beliefs, your emotions, your inner frequency is what gets echoed back into the outside world. Not in a poetic way, in a mechanical way, like signal and response. So how do you apply this in your actual, everyday life? It starts with what Thoth taught long ago: thought, feeling, right arrow, aligned action. Step 1. Start with the signal. Every miracle begins with a thought. Not just any thought, a clear one. A thought that doesn't just want change, but is ready to carry it. Say you want peace. What does peace feel like in the body? Is it soft, spacious, grounded? Start by defining your inner signal not as a concept, but as a frequency you can recognize. Then hold it not for an hour, just for one deep breath. That's where the shift begins. Step 2. Feel it until it feels real. Thinking alone isn't enough. Your emotions are the real signal tower. If you say, "I believe," but your stomach is tight with doubt, the universe hears the tension. So soften. Imagine your life already aligned with that inner peace. What would your mornings feel like? What would your conversations sound like? Let yourself feel the future, not to escape the present, but to program it. Step 3. Take one aligned action. Here's where the miracle gets rooted. If you want to change your frequency, your body has to participate. Want to manifest connection? Send that message you've been avoiding. Want to manifest abundance? Tidy your wallet. Say no to that small deal that doesn't respect your worth. Want to create peace? Close your eyes for 1 full minute between meetings. These are not grand gestures, but in the language of the universe, they are clear signals. You're saying, "I'm not waiting for peace, I'm becoming it." That's the law in motion. Because as above, so below isn't just a reflection, it's a relationship. Your internal world doesn't mirror the outer, it informs it. And when mind, emotion, and action speak the same frequency, reality bends to match. That's the first miracle. It's not lightning from the sky. It's not an overnight reversal of everything. It's the subtle but powerful shift when your external life starts to echo your inner clarity. And once it happens, you realize you didn't change the world. You just remembered how to co-create it. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. Not your words, not your wishes, but your consistent frequency, the quiet pulse you carry through ordinary moments. And that's good news, because it means you don't need to force. You don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to align one breath, one ritual, one simple practice repeated not perfectly, but consistently. So choose something small today. Maybe it's a phrase you whisper each morning, a hand over your heart before sleep, a deep breath before you speak. Whatever it is, practice it for 7 days, not as a task, as a remembering, because the shift doesn't come from doing more. It comes from vibrating true. And when you do that, everything else begins to move. With you, for you, through you, just as it always was, from within.